If I told you that just one small morning habit, less than 5 minutes, could help your legs feel as strong as they did in your early 50s, would you believe me? David Miller, 68 lives in a quiet little town in Ohio. He used to love tending his garden, mowing his own lawn, fixing the roof himself, and on weekends, driving hours to visit his kids. But in recent years, things began to change. On cold mornings, the moment his feet touched the hardwood floor, his calves felt heavy, his knees unsteady. He had to grip the side of the bed just to stand up. The familiar staircase in his home started to feel like a steep hill. He stopped going up and down as often, asked his wife to handle the grocery runs, and the lawn, well, it stayed untouched. One afternoon, standing on the porch, David watched his 6-year-old grandson playing tag in the yard. He realized he was just standing there, watching, instead of running over and scooping him up like he used to. That realization carried a quiet ache, part sadness, part helplessness. Everything changed during a trip to Florida to visit his daughter. At a seaside park, David happened to run into an old high school friend, Linda Parker. At 70, Linda still walked 3 miles every morning. Her posture was straight, her steps were quick and steady, her face glowed with health. When David asked her secret, Linda simply smiled. "It's not the gym, it's not expensive supplements, it's just a simple fruit you can find in any grocery store. But I eat it the right way and at the right time." Today, here on Senior Life Wisdom, I'll share the lesson David learned: how a familiar fruit can reactivate your body's ability to rebuild muscle, improve balance, and give you back the freedom in every step you take. Because this isn't just about what you eat, it's about holding on to strength, independence, and the confidence to trust your body even after 65. Part 1. Blueberries keeping the power plants of your muscles alive. Warm, steady tone. Pause to let images form in the listener's mind. After that morning's talk at the seaside park, David didn't rush to ask more questions. He simply watched as Linda walked along the gravel path, each step light, yet decisive as if her legs had never known fatigue. In the soft morning light, David realized something important. What he was searching for wasn't some miracle cure. It was a way to keep each step steady, no matter how many years passed. Linda told him about a small fruit one most people saw as just a sweet dessert, but inside it carried something the aging body desperately needed: energy for every single muscle fiber. She wasn't talking about sugar or vitamin C. She spoke about the keys hidden in the deep blue-purple skin of the blueberry. Compounds that could wake up the sleeping power plants inside our muscles, making them work more efficiently, giving you the strength to rise from a chair, climb the stairs, or keep walking without hesitation. After 65, this isn't just about health, it's about freedom. Freedom to walk down the stairs without grabbing the railing. Freedom to stroll the entire park with your grandchild without worrying about aching knees. Freedom to know your body can still recover and still wants to keep moving. From a scientific view, blueberries are not just fruit. Beneath that rich, blue-purple skin lies anthocyanin, a powerful group of antioxidants. They work like quiet craftsmen, repairing and even rebuilding mitochondria, the power plants of your muscles. When we're young, these power plants run at full capacity, producing enough energy to climb hills, carry groceries, or walk for hours without tiring. But after 60, both the number and quality of mitochondria drop sharply. Muscles receive less energy, recover more slowly, and fatigue sets in even after small tasks. Anthocyanins in blueberries help reverse this process by activating PGC1A, a gene that encourages the creation of new mitochondria, boosting energy production in your muscles, reducing oxidative stress, protecting the mitochondria you still have from further damage, improving blood flow, so muscles receive the oxygen and nutrients they need to recover. The result: muscles that aren't just stronger, they also bounce back faster after activity. And it's not only your body that benefits. By the same mechanism, anthocyanins also improve blood flow to the brain, supporting memory, focus, and mental clarity. Getting the most from blueberries doesn't require anything complicated. Eat them daily. Consistency matters more than large amounts all at once. In the morning, add 1 to 2 cups of fresh or frozen blueberries to your oatmeal, or enjoy them with Greek yogurt. After light activity, have blueberries within 30-60 minutes of walking, gardening, or doing Tai Chi when your muscles are most ready to absorb nutrients. Pair them with protein yogurt, almonds, or cottage cheese. Help your body use anthocyanins more effectively and support muscle repair. Always choose fresh or frozen or freeze-dried blueberries with no added sugar. Jams or sweet syrups may take away much of the benefit you're hoping for. For David, eating a handful of blueberries each morning wasn't a treatment, it was a reminder that his body could still recover, that his legs still wanted to walk. And the day he realized he could climb the stairs without stopping, he understood something simple yet powerful. Sometimes the strength of old age begins with small habits, repeated faithfully. When David sees the blue-purple of a blueberry now, he doesn't just see a fruit, he sees the color of vitality, of wisdom, and of legs still eager to carry him forward even in life's later chapters. It was an autumn morning. A thin mist still clung to the lawn outside David's porch. He woke up, pulled the curtain aside, and looked out. Yesterday, he had done nothing more than trim the rose bushes by the fence, yet this morning, his knees felt stiff, his calves heavy, as if someone had tied small weights to them. He braced his hands on the bed frame, stood up slowly, and sighed. I've gotten stronger compared to a few years ago, he thought. But why do I still have mornings like this? He called Linda, as he often did when he needed a bit of guidance. On the other end, her voice was calm, almost knowing. David, sometimes the problem isn't strength, it's the quiet fire burning inside you. Linda began to explain something most older adults carry without realizing it: low-grade inflammation. Not the kind that brings fever or sharp pain. This was more like a small ember, smoldering day after day, slowly wearing down muscle, stiffening joints, and making recovery slower after even the simplest activities. Science calls it inflammaging, the gradual pairing of inflammation and aging. Then, she told him about tart cherries, the deep red, tangy kind she drank every evening. Inside this fruit, she said, were compounds that could put out the fire, anthocyanins and polyphenols proven to lower markers of inflammation and calm the quiet damage happening inside the body. Linda remembered when she first started drinking tart cherry juice. Back then, her knees still swelled a little after long morning walks. But within a few weeks, the stiffness she felt every morning faded noticeably. She slept more deeply and woke up feeling lighter, almost younger. David, she said, blueberries are like fresh fuel for your muscles. But tart cherries, they're the firefighters putting out the hidden flames so that energy isn't wasted. David decided to give it a try. Every night, he poured a glass of pure, unsweetened tart cherry juice, sipping it slowly, almost like a small ritual before bed. In just 3 weeks, he noticed the change. He no longer woke up with heavy knees. A day of gardening no longer cost him a full week of recovery. And his sleep, something he thought would never truly be restful again, became deeper, steadier, and more refreshing. He realized something important. Strength doesn't only come from adding energy, it also comes from extinguishing what's silently draining it away. For him, that glass of tart cherry juice each night wasn't just a drink. It was a reminder that even after nearly 7 decades of living, his body could still recover, if he listened and cared for it the right way. It was a mild spring afternoon. David was sitting on the porch, a bit of soil still clinging to his hands after planting a few rows of herbs. The sky was a soft blue. A light breeze drifted by, but when he stood up to put away his tools, his calf suddenly tightened, a sharp cramp that made him freeze mid-step. He remembered. This wasn't the first time. Some nights, the same thing would happen. A sudden muscle spasm in his calf would yank him out of sleep, forcing him to sit up and massage it for minutes before it eased. Maybe I'm missing something, he thought. That weekend, While wandering through the farmer's market, David told Linda about it. She smiled knowingly, reached into her basket, and pulled out a bunch of perfectly ripe bananas. "David," she said, "sometimes muscles don't weaken because of age. They weaken because they're running out of the raw materials they need to work." She explained that bananas are rich in potassium and magnesium, two minerals that act like the electric current carrying signals from the brain to the muscles, helping them contract and relax in perfect rhythm. After age 65, our bodies are more prone to losing this balance of electrolytes, especially after sweating or simply not drinking enough water. When potassium or magnesium runs low, muscles react more slowly, tire more easily, and cramps become more frequent. David thought back to his younger days. After every game of basketball or long run, he'd eat a banana without a second thought. Maybe now, his body needed it even more than before. The next morning, he placed a basket of bananas on the kitchen counter right where he'd see them every day. After his morning walk, or a few hours in the garden, he'd peel one open, sometimes pairing it with Greek yogurt or a handful of almonds. It didn't take long for him to notice the change. The night cramps disappeared. The heaviness in his calves when climbing stairs was gone. Science explains it clearly. Just one banana gives you more than 400 milliliters of potassium, enough to help muscles keep a steady rhythm, reduce fatigue, and prevent the loss of water inside cells. The magnesium helps muscles relax faster after contracting, easing tension and supporting hundreds of other processes tied to strength and flexibility. For David, that daily banana wasn't just a snack. It was like sending a message to his muscles. Don't worry, you have everything you need for today. And perhaps the best part, he could walk the entire loop around the park with his grandson, without stopping for a cramp that came out of nowhere. In the journey to regain strength in our later years, we often chase complicated solutions, forgetting that sometimes the answer is simple, affordable, and sitting right in front of us like a perfectly ripe, golden banana. It was an early summer morning. David stood at the park entrance, ready for his daily walk. He stretched gently, but noticed something unusual. Even though he was much stronger than a few years ago, there were still days when his legs felt uncooperative. His steps slowed. His stride felt heavier, not from fatigue, but as if the signal to move just wasn't as crisp. That evening, during dinner with his family, his daughter poured a glass of deep ruby red juice. "Here, Dad, try this. It's pomegranate juice. Great for the heart, but it does more than that." David took a sip. The tart, sweet flavor spread across his tongue, light and refreshing. His daughter explained, "Pomegranates are rich in polyphenols, especially allegitannins, which the body converts into a compound called urolithin A. Urolithin A stimulates the production of nitric oxide. No, a natural signal that helps widen and relax blood vessels. Think of it as opening up roads inside your circulatory system, allowing blood to flow more freely. After age 65, the endothelial lining of our blood vessels starts to weaken. Arteries become less flexible, blood flows slower, and when that happens, even strong muscles can struggle. They simply don't get enough oxygen and nutrients to perform and recover. Pomegranate acts like a road builder, opening the pathways so oxygen-rich blood can reach each muscle fiber, and waste products can be cleared more efficiently after activity. David decided to give it a try. Each morning, 30 to 60 minutes before his walk, he drank half a glass of pure pomegranate juice, no added sugar. Within weeks, he noticed something. His steps felt lighter. His breathing stayed steady, even on uphill stretches. And after long walks, his calves no longer carried that heavy, sluggish feeling. Science confirms it. Urolithin A doesn't just improve blood circulation. It also triggers a process called mitochondrial autophagy, which removes damaged energy factories inside muscle cells and replaces them with stronger, more efficient ones. This is key to maintaining endurance as we age. One morning, David paused under the shade of a tree along the path. He realized he had walked farther than usual without even noticing. He smiled to himself. Knowing that the roads inside his body were flowing freely again thanks to the dark red fruit he had once thought was only good for decorating a table. For David, pomegranate wasn't just a fruit, it was a new map opening pathways for blood, oxygen, and energy, so he could continue his journey with strength, steadiness, and peace of mind. Late September, the autumn breeze carried the scent of ripe apples through the small town where David lived. At the weekend farmer's market, baskets of shiny red apples lined the tables, with a crate of fresh cranberries just beside them, as always. Linda stood at her usual stall, carefully choosing apples. She smiled when she saw David. "You know," she said, "these two have helped me keep my muscles strong even without heavy workouts. They wake up the builders inside your body." She spoke of ursolic acid, a natural compound found mostly in apple skins and also in cranberries. When it enters the body, ursolic acid sends a signal to satellite cells in the muscles, those builders whose job is to repair and rebuild damaged muscle fibers. But after the age of 65, those builders often fall into a kind of deep sleep, rarely called to work. Ursolic acid is like a gentle knock on the door, waking them up, putting their tools back in their hands. It also increases the activity of mTOR, the master switch for muscle protein synthesis, while dialing down the genes that cause muscle loss. The result, muscles that are not only protected from wasting, but also given the conditions to grow stronger, even with lighter activity than in younger years. David brought home a bag of apples and a box of cranberries. He began a new habit in the morning or afternoon. He ate a washed apple skin and all, or added a handful of fresh cranberries to his oatmeal. He noticed something interesting. His body no longer felt weaker after busy days. Instead, his strength seemed to hold steady, like the foundation beneath him was firm. One afternoon, after finishing some work in the garden, he sat on the porch, watching the trees trade their green for gold. He thought about his journey from mornings where it was hard to stand up from bed, to now, starting each day with steady, confident steps. Each fruit he had added to his daily routine: blueberries, tart cherries, bananas, pomegranates, and now apples and cranberries was like a small puzzle piece, slowly completing the picture of his health. Linda was right. There's no single magic secret. It's the little things, done consistently, that add up to something big. And David knew his journey wasn't over. But now, he walked it with the confidence and freedom he once thought were lost. He took another bite of the apple, the sweet taste mingling with the faint tang of the skin, and felt as if he had just made his body a quiet promise. We will stay strong one day at a time. My friend, David's journey didn't start with a miracle. It began on a heavy morning, when he had to grip the side of the bed just to stand up. And then, day by day, habit by habit, a handful of blueberries in the morning, a glass of tart cherry juice before bed, a banana after his walk, half a glass of pomegranate juice before exercise, and an apple or a handful of cranberries in the afternoon, slowly changed everything. 5 fruits, 5 different ways to help the body: blueberries waking up the power plants inside the muscles, tart cherries putting out the hidden fires of chronic inflammation, bananas filling the silent gaps in minerals the muscles need, pomegranates opening the roads so nutrients and oxygen flow freely, apples and cranberries calling the builders back to work inside the muscles. They don't just feed the body, they feed something even more precious: the belief that you can still be strong, that you can still own every step you take, and you can start today. You don't need to change everything at once. Just choose one fruit and add it to your daily routine. Next week, add another. Give your body time to adjust, to heal, to rebuild. Because strength in our later years doesn't come from racing ahead, it comes from steady, consistent steps. Like David. You may not notice the change tomorrow, but a few months from now, when you climb the stairs without stopping, when you walk with your grandchild without worrying about sore knees, you'll know that those small, daily choices have made a big difference. And if you're hearing my voice right now, I want you to do one thing: decide which fruit you'll eat tomorrow and write it in the comments below. It's not just a promise to yourself, it might be the inspiration someone else needs for their own journey. If today's story gave you hope or motivation, please subscribe to Senior Life Wisdom and turn on notifications so you never miss our next conversation. And share this video with friends or family, anyone you want to walk beside you in keeping their health and their freedom. My friend, we can't hold on to time, but we can hold on to strength, to independence, and to the joy of walking each day starting with the simplest things, right there in our own kitchen.